Good afternoon, this wonderful Sunday afternoon, well, cloudy here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I am your Dungeon Master Bilbo, bringing another product review. These are the treasure decks by Nord Games. I actually backed these through a Kickstarter by Nord Games. I've really been impressed with a couple of their products. I've done a couple of reviews of their Revenge of the Horde, as well as their NPC Skullduggery book as well. And actually today, I believe at like 2 p.m. Central Time, I think it's 2 p.m. It'll be on their YouTube channel, I'm sure, too. But they're doing a YouTube Live about I guess what they're doing next and some of their past products as well. So it's perfect timing. I actually received these decks, I believe it was Wednesday evening, and I've just been so busy. We had our session with Tales of the Yawning Portal that evening, so I wasn't able to get to them. And then ended up being sick Thursday. And Friday played with my grandson, who's 10 years old. He's a second session of him being a dungeon master. And so just been busy. And yesterday was out a family barbecue, so we didn't do our Grey Guardians. So first chance I get is to go ahead and review these decks before I play some Dungeons and Dragons myself again this afternoon. So let's go ahead and start. So as you see, there's 5 different decks, and they are for creature ratings from 1 to 4. Then you have 5 to 8, 9 to 12, 13 to... wow, that one says something different. Oh, because maybe I have it backwards. Well, look in this one here. Oh, no, 13 to 16, my bad. Can't read glasses even. And then 17 to 20. At the bottom, you'll also see a luck deck, which I did an add-on. Also, some blank cards here that you could make yourself, do your own. So let's just, I'll look through each one. I've opened them all. I haven't really reviewed them, you know, in the sense entirety. I've just opened them out of the wrappers here today. So here, just the 1 to 4. And I'm just going to do a couple cards here. So what you can do is just showing the lighting here. I gotta do some different lighting with this. This is probably a bit better here. Anyways, so you get here, you roll a d12, or you can just select what your treasure. And there's a couple options you could do. For me, my roaming monsters, which really aren't roaming, what I do for a random, and so this is a DM tip as well. When I have random encounters, they're not too random because I plan them in advance and decide, you know, okay, I want to have an encounter here, or if the game's moving slow, maybe I have another random encounter just set where I'm like, okay, I need to pick up the action of the group, or just in the sense of traveling. I'll roll random, okay, yep, they're going to have an encounter here along the way. So it depends, more for homebrew than adventures that, you know, are out of the box, I should say. Like we're doing Tales from the Yawning Portal. So there I'm not really doing that many random encounters. I had one planned actually the last session. But let's move on here. So really we're talking about Nord Games and their treasure decks. So the first card here, right on top, it has, so 1d6, you know, there's, you know, an ornate stylus worth 14 gold. There's a half-worn eaten book examining poisonous plants, and a quart glass tube faintly with green liquid, and antitoxin vial. So those are a couple things on this one. Let's see, just grabbing another one. 10 to 11, a flask of thick liquid, marbled red orange alchemist fire. So just different kind of variety of, you know, simple items, some, stuff might be worth gold, or, a couple different items, potion of healing, for example. But nothing too crazy, and like, let's say on a D12 here, you get, and so it's only a 12, so this one of the cards here, a thick parchment resembling a signed legal document, and a curled yellow paper with gently drips ink from the one corner. First level warlock spell scroll, so a first level wizard spell scroll. So you have 2 scrolls, 2 different spells. So those are the kind of things. You roll a d12. Leather unwound from a sword hilt, and a shield strapped, seared with symbols. 2 paladin cantrip spell scrolls. So variety of different little items there on that. So let's move up to what 528 looks like. Just a variety here. So 1d6, 220 silver pieces, 7 to 9, a torn belt pouch containing 5 platinum, and a milky blue liquid in a simple vial, potion of resistance. So those are a couple things. A 12, a wand crafted from a mummified claw of an enormous spider, wand of web. Another one here. A 10 to 11, a roll of parchment with faintly glittering green writing, 3rd level sorcerer's spell scroll. A 12, a set of round goggles on an adjustable strap resembling the shining eyes of an owl, goggles of night. So simple items here, of course. Once again, they're very balanced for 5d8, and these, like I said, these are used for roaming monsters, or even in the sense you're designing an adventure and like, oh, what should I give for treasure? This is, these things are perfect for your toolkit. The great thing is too, is I believe they're $12 a box, or at least they were with the Kickstarter. I'm not sure what it is now on their website, but you don't have to order all their decks. You can, order, okay, I have characters right now, we're in the 5th to 8th range, and so I want one of those boxes, and this is a way to create magic items. So here we go. This here is the 9 through 12. So we're getting up here a little bit in a character level. So 1 to 6 is a green gem false eye worth 550 gold pieces. 7 to 9, a suit of armor designed to look like leaves, or scales. Tiny specks of fey light sometimes drift from it, and touching the armor causes a short static shock, plus 2 armor. So that's pretty cool, right? 10 to 11, a finely crafted wooden box with 4 smaller wooden boxes inside of it. Inside each of these boxes are sparkling gems, 10 elemental gems, 2 blue sapphires, 3 yellow diamonds, 3 red corundum, and 2 emeralds. So, pretty cool. And then a number 12, a halberd whose crescent moon blade glints with enameled ripples of folded steel. Supple leather lines on the handle, which molds comfortably to the touch. Plus 2 halberd, plus 2 weapon. So, and once again, 9 to 12, that's definitely, a plus 2 weapon is, pretty cool for the group to have, at that level. Appropriate, right? And now here we go, 13 to 16. So this is where, like, my Grey Guardians are entering, in the sense of average level, that campaign. So once again, this here is a perfect deck for me to use if there's random treasure that I don't already have planned for the group. So 1 to 6, a handful of small fiery orange gems in a powder box worth 5,498 gold. definitely reasonable, right? 7 and 9, a seemingly empty vial, yet sloshing with unseen liquid, and fashioned with a padlock. Potion of invisibility with a chime of opening. That's pretty cool. 10 to 11, a thin piece of metal into which glyphs have been burnt. 8th level spell scroll. 12, a finely crafted weapon decorated with fine gemstones that give off a pale glow. +3 weapon. So, once again, appropriate for your group, right? That all makes sense. So that's, when you want to get a, +3 weapon out there to the group, and you roll a 12 on the die, or you just pick, you look. And the great thing too is say if you're dealing with one tough encounter, just one thing, you can do, okay, one of these cards, and maybe you give it 2 different pieces of treasure, maybe you give it 1. If you're dealing with multiple creatures, you could use multiple cards to have. You could also, if you want to really go random, let your players roll a d12 right then and there, and you have the card, or even let them select the card out of the deck and say, okay, this is the treasure. Depending on your game, how random you want it, or how, planned. For me, I like to plan. I like to, even using these cards on the fly, which can happen. There's an improv where you have all of a sudden an encounter pop up that you didn't expect. Maybe they're fighting the captain of the guard, which you weren't planning on it, and you have to improv. Well, one of these cards could be perfect to throw in as treasure, and doesn't even look like you're stretching. Your players have no idea that you just pulled one of these cards. So, pretty cool idea. I really like everything that Nord Games puts out. Really comes into thought of a dungeon master. Really love what they're doing, and I'm sure I'll be back in any future project they do as well. So now here we go, 17 to 20, the epic level games here. Well, this is where Critical Role is, right? This is the epic time here. So 1 to 6, a platinum death mask inlaid with jewels and etched with gold worth 10,000 gold pieces. 7 to 9, an evil-looking parchment of black and red, issuing whispers of doom, and a fantastical golden clockwork wand studded with multicolored gems. And here you have an 8th level warlock scroll plus the Wand of Wonder, which we just had that come up in the Grey Gardens. They found it in the treasure deck, or not treasure deck, treasure decks, in a treasure hoard of this twisted copper dragon. 10 to 11, a wonderfully light scimitar with very thin whippy blade and a pommel made from a large yellow diamond. Scimitar of speed. Pretty cool, right? And 12, 2 identical weapons as if made as a matching set, each with 3 many-hued opals set into their handles. 2 + 3 weapons. So pretty cool. You can, these are definitely things where if you're running a sandbox game and, you want to do treasure, but you're not sure, am I giving too much? Am I giving too little? That's definitely, I would say, my biggest dilemma. My players would probably complain, all of them over the years, is I don't give out a lot of treasure. I'm definitely not anywhere near Monty Hall by far. So, I'm sure I will be using these a lot more to remind myself to make sure I'm giving the player some treasure, especially in my sandbox games like the Grey Guardians. Last year, so I did this add-on, and this here is a luck deck. Now, I really like this. And I have one of their critical hit decks as well. I got that from Dungeon Crate in one of their boxes, probably, I don't know, 6 months ago or longer than that. And I really like that. I haven't used the Critical Hit deck that much. And for me, it would just be more in the sense of hits or whatever. I don't like doing beyond that. So it's a cool thing for people that want to get more detail on the criticals. But I just don't go that far into it. I try to have my players explain, what the critical looks like when they do a hit like that, or I explain what the monster does. But it's usually, in a sense, never nothing beyond what visual effects. However, I really wanted, these luck decks, what I heard about them. I hadn't seen them, but what I heard, and I thought this is a great thing. So I do inspiration, where I go back and listen to each one of our sessions that we record to give out experience. That's how I dole out experience. I listen, give out combat experience, then role-playing experience. That way, during a session, I don't have to pay attention. I'm not taking extra notes, writing down, oh, I should give experience for this or that, and because you're going to miss stuff. But now, with YouTube or just even having, camcorder or whatever, your computer, just if you don't shoot YouTube, which is fine, just shoot your game, just audio record it, and then I go back, listen, and then I can take notes too. I might come up with an NPC name right on the fly and go back and listen. So another Dungeon Master tip for you out there. But these cards, I thought, if they do something cool during the game or impressive, and what we're actually going to be adding is like an MVP, where all the players at the end of the session say, and they can't say it's their own character, but kind of go around the table and say who had a good impact for the game. I was thinking these cards would be perfect, or just even during the game if I think something comes up. So I'm going to just let the player randomly pick a card, just pick a card, any card, like a magician. And so I'll just pick one here. And then this is awarded to the player, and they can use it when they need, and they just hold on to the card until they want to use it. So this card may be played against you by the GM at any time for the following effect: minus 1d6 after making a skill or attack roll. So I make an attack roll, and they want to use, and I'm like, I'm going to hit them, and I'll say, oh, I hit, and they can say, oh, I want to use this card. Can you take a d6 off that roll? Maybe they'll miss, Another card here. This card may be played against you by the GM at any time for the following effect: miss on attack roll. That's huge, so you can say, oh, I hit, nope, I want to play this card, you miss. So really cool. Here's another card. This card may be played against you by the GM at any time for the following effect: reroll a skill or attack roll. Once again, very cool. It's just kind of, so the blue one here. This card may be handed to the GM at any time for the following benefit: 1d12 after making a saving throw. So they're pretty sure they missed the saving throw. What I do in my group is I don't tell them what the DC number is. I have them roll, and if they roll low, and they're like, well, I'm probably not going to make this. I rolled a 12. I'm probably not making the save. This card is perfect, where now you get to roll a d12 and add that to the roll. Especially if they don't have an inspiration die, d20 sitting around that they can use. So like the whole deck of cards like that. And so you may have players sitting around with 3 or 4 of these cards, which is cool to have, plus the inspiration dice. So I have a rule in my game, a home rule, that the max inspiration dice you can have is 3. But adding this in will also maybe inspire some of my players to, do some great role playing to get one of those cards. One of the things where the card here in Nord Games, they suggest on any time a D20 is rolled. I'm not doing that myself. That's just me personally. I have my grandson who rolls. If you watch any of our shows, either Grey Guardians or Tales from the Yawning Portal, he rolls 20s all the time. It's crazy the amount of 20s he rolls. So he would probably have the whole deck in a couple of weeks. So not doing the D20s, but I love those as a reward for your players for whatever it can be, role playing, figuring out a cool. Maybe you have a trap that you thought was really cool and they figured out, or even a monster you get around it, anything like that, or coming up with something like my players do, totally off guard, and I'm like, wow, that's a great idea. I never thought of that, or that's a great plan. And you can give out multiple cards. I'm giving one out to 3 players because they came up with some great plan that I never even thought of. So I'm going to go ahead and end this session of the Treasure Decks by Nord Games. I recommend you go out to their website, take a look at their products. Hey, if you watch this in the next hour, and like I said, you can go out too. I'm sure they'll be posting this out on their YouTube channel here as well. Check out some of their products that they have, or even go back and look at my Revenge of the Hoarder, the Skullduggery book, the reviews on those. Those are 2 really cool books that I have. I believe you can even do PDF on both of those. I like hardcover books. That's just me. I'm old school, and so I like the touchy feeling stuff. So check them out. I really recommend their products, and I've been doing Dungeons and Dragons for 40 years. So if it's coming from me, it's a pretty good deal. And their products. I don't think they're overpriced. I think you're getting definitely what you paid for, and they put out great quality products. I'm going to go ahead and sign out. This is your Dungeon Master Bilbo from the world of Hearthron, reviewing the Treasure Decks by Nord Games and the Luck Deck. You guys have a happy Sunday and happy gaming. Remember, it's cool to be a geek. Pass it on. Happy gaming.